Good morning, anime friends. I'm so glad to be joining you again this morning. But enough with the stupid voices. It is actually Sunday morning, and I've been enthused to see the enthusiasm that has come my way in celebration of the fact that I am now using Blender 2.8 for animation. I knew that there would be a bit of a boost in attention, and that's not why I did it. I did it because it's a good tool. It's the right tool for the right reasons at the right time when you need it. But having said that, today is the day that we're actually going to jump back to OpentToonz because we've got a shot that the original ink and paint. There's basically 4 keyframes, and the thing is we need tweens. I don't want to completely redraw all this stuff. Okay, so here's what happens in the shot. Doesn't look perfect because the shadows are all turned off and stuff, but so what we need to do is get some tweens in there. Clearly the best solution was to go ahead and stay in OpentToonz for this one. So there it is. I'm just going to make the original 4 keyframes a little lighter, and then I'm going to go ahead and knock out some pencils on these tweens. Now what we're going to find is that a lot of this stuff, like his torso, we're just going to repeat that, so we're going to definitely make a clone when we do these tweens of the previous frames so that we're not having to redraw this. There's no reason to redraw it. What we're looking for here is the turn of the head. Okay, so actually while we're here, let's delineate his nose and the basic positioning of his eyes. So it's kind of like sticks and balls, except it's not exactly sticks and balls. Okay, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of onion skins, so boom, boom, boom. Let's just do it this way, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then, as always, working from the known to the unknown. I'm going ahead and outlining this quickly because who knows, maybe I'll decide that I want even one more tween in there. So as far as his eyes go, boom, 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 we're going from here to here. Edge, 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 edge. Right there would be roughly where that would be. This is kind of a stupid way to do it, but edge. So there's about the halfway point. So you would, if we're doing a straight tween, it would suggest that our midpoint would be right about there. And I'm pretty close. So eyes. And basically it does look like the guy, so that's good. Okay. A little bit of a square jaw thing going on, so we want to make sure we don't forget about that. Here. Okay, cool. Okay, so he actually is going to have some dialogue in here where he says, take her. I'm listening to the Bee Gees, if you can believe that, in my headphones today. Why? I don't know. Now, yesterday I think it was, I was talking about Kiss because I went and saw them last week, so I'm not going to talk about the Bee Gees today. Unless I decide to. It could happen. Anything could happen. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to redo his torso. I do want to make sure I get his hairline. We got his hairline here. So let's say there's the middle of it, middle, There's halfway point, so roughly there we should see the middle of his hairline, right? And there it is. So very nice, very nice. Top line, top line. I can wing it on the top line. Okay. So there we have our tween. Very nice. Okay, so now let's see what happens here. Okay, we got to get from here to here, so definitely. So again, I'm going to quickly trace Mr. Big. And it's actually really good, this tracing, because remember, when you're drawing, everything you draw in terms of the contours pretty much boils down to either a C or an S or a straight line. Now, if it's a C, it's usually going to be a broad, you know, it's not going to be a C, although it can be with an ear, for example. But you look at this, it's C, C, straight line, C, sometimes it's concave, sometimes it's convex, S, C. Literally everything you draw is either a straight line, a C, or an S. Now that's mainly, you know, if you are a good artist and you have a good sense of you know, volumes in your mind, then you may not need this little crutch to think about your drawing process. But the truth is, even if you're an experienced artist, it's kind of useful, because as I'm tracing over this, I'm going C, C, and so what I'm doing is I'm seeing where the edges of these contours are, and then those will wind up being guides for the tweening process, right? You know, there's a straight line, there's a break, and then a very gentle C. Again, here that's technically not a straight line, it's actually a C. But so now what I've done is I've effectively broken my guide down into these guides that become very useful for getting the tweens correct. So, and they also underscore mistakes, you know. In fact, I'm going to do this some more. Okay. Just hit the wrong key there. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to get from here to here, and we can pick anything. Let's pick the center of his forehead. Okay. Here's the center of his forehead here, and here it was on the previous frame, so it seems like I should be somewhere here on the tween. Okay. So let's just assume that this is the case. Now, one of the things we want to think about probably and establish this quickly is let's look at this oval. I'm going to use the blue for this. We got this oval, and we've got this line through it. Okay, so here we get this. We've gone from there to there. So I'm looking at this line, and I'm thinking on the tween, that line needs to be somewhere like this. So we're fairly front on here. So just to try to map this in a little bit, I'm going to use my blue pencil. Now here, I'm going to actually keep doing this thing with the blue pencil. Okay, so we have this shot here, and then what I did was I said I want to have two tweens. So if this is the center line, and it goes all the way around, I'm going to say this needs to be, this is definitely a little bit trickier. Anytime you're dealing with, so actually, as I always like to say, we're going from the known to the unknown. So what's known here is actually the base of his skull, where it meets his neck, because there it is. So now we want to get from here to here to, I'm just ballparking it here. Okay, that's not quite right. But this is quite a useful way to get from here to there, wherever here and there happen to be. Okay, so that's what's known. Okay, B key. Okay, so now having established that, my sense is that what I want to do is take the contour of his chin. Here we've got this flat edge, so we would presume it's here, okay, and it's becoming this, okay. Okay, here it would be completely gone, I believe. So I'm gonna presume that it would be completely gone. And also that probably we want to deal with his shoulder. Here's his shoulder. So again, I'm going to kind of wing this a little bit. Shoulder, I'm going to just really wing it. Okay. Shoulder, shoulder. Oh, that, yes. Okay, that did not work. Shoulder. So actually this needs to be up here. Boom. Nice. Okay, we got to get all the way over there. I don't like that. I think this should be probably more like there. This is close. Actually, I think probably there is going to be about right. Okay, nice. Okay, so maybe we could draw the arc just to use that as a reference. Meaning, what is the arc that his shoulder's going to travel? Oh, it's basically that. Okay. So now if we're going to take this S and simplify it to a straight line for planning purposes, then what would happen is something of this nature. Right? And we see that sweep right around. Okay. We don't want to lose the top of his shoulder, of course. Okay, very good. Neck. Straight line. Slight curve. S. Less of an S. We're up to Nights on Broadway. Okay. I'm not going to do the next section. I want to just get this. Okay, that's a known line. So it'd probably be something like that. And it should be probably going from convex to concave, or concave to convex, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, fine. B key. See? Straighten that out. Okay, that's a known. Something like that. Yep, that would be the outside edge, so therefore the thickness is something like that. So that's fine. Okay. Get this edge. I think maybe, I guess this drawing is a known. This was already drawn, so I'm going to kind of make that a rule for myself, saying, well, I can't change that. Okay. We have to live with that, and we got to get to here. So that's easy. There's a point. 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 Okay. Okay, and this is right. Okay, cool. That got flipped around. Okay. So I'm gonna just kind of use my drawing skill now to just kind of discern what this would be. Okay, so if we could say this is his center of his body, and I should say it's his spine, because this is really at the back side of his body for guidance purposes. Okay. Pull out a little bit. One could argue that possibly there's really another tween demanded there, but I don't know. I mean, the timing is right, and it's already on 2s. Boom. Boom. And the way he sweeps around, that's not too bad, actually. B key. Okay, so now we've got... Let's just start filling some things in. Okay. That would appear slightly thinner since it's being seen from an angle now. Okay, let's deal with this guy's head. And I'm going to actually Control C. Actually, no. Let's grab this one. Control C. I don't know how useful it'll be. Actually, that would probably not be too bad, because what that means is as he's turning, he's still looking back for a moment. If we repeat that pose, it's actually not a bad idea at all. And then he sweeps around like so. Hairline. There's our S's and our C's that we talked about. Okay, and this is where arguably maybe another tween would be useful, but let's go ahead and run that and see what that looks like. I like it. Boom. It's like an ice skater doing a spin. Okay. Okay. I'm listening right now. The song that's on is "Tragedy," which I think is like one of the Bee Gees' worst tunes. We're skipping that one. Yeah. Okay. Now, I was about to say, do I have enough to convincingly carry out my inking? And the answer is emphatically no. Okay, we do have a problem here. Basically in the positioning of the eyes, I believe. I thought this before. Okay, I mean, obviously it's kind of, this is actually a little embarrassing because obviously he doesn't look like the same guy on this particular shot. So we need to figure out what's happening to this guy that's making him look different. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the, yes, this is an S, not a straight line. Okay, we got some volume in the back of his head that's missing. This should curve around like that. Okay, I'm just going to erase his eyes because I feel like the eyes are what's really throwing this off kilter. And once I take the eyes out, it does appear to me to be doing a better job of capturing the guy. Sometimes if you have to sew together a couple keys, it helps to actually work backwards, especially if you have a problem like this where you're sort of at risk of making the guy look like he's not the same guy from frame to frame. There's a little bit of volume down here that seems to be disappearing. The thing is, I don't want to go too far because I do want to try to adhere to my earlier pencils as much as possible, or I should say keyframes, since they were inked. But at the same time, if it's wrong, it's wrong. So that like from here, I'm buying that. It's not perfect, but I'm buying it. On this shot, his eyes seem to be a little too close together. IMHO. I better save early, save often here, folks. We don't want to have a... So the more tweens you do, the more you realize how you need to make all these things line up in order to sell it. Okay, so what I'm looking for now is I'm looking for a change in the shape of his head. Right here, I think we need to give a little bit of volume here. Okay. Okay, the other issue here is the eyes are a little bit low. So again, this is the egregious frame. We're going to get this figured out. Okay, we're getting better. We're getting closer here. Just going to do a little erasing right there. Okay, I think we're okay. Now, I'm going to see if I can use a little bit of his age to sew this together as well. In other words, every contour of his face becomes a tool we can use to convey from drawing to drawing that this is, in fact, the same guy, right? Now that sounds like a pretty hacky way to do your job. I will happily admit. But that's what we have to work with, and obviously we all have to deal with our own limitations as artists. We're trying to get better every day, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm not going to claim that it's stellar and perfect. I'm just going to keep trying, man. I'm just going to keep trying. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Okay, so now this is this pose right here. So I better get this guy blocked in here. Nice broad shoulders. We're keeping his head away from us. I'm going to go ahead and just draw the contour of his body. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and grab this. And I think in this case, we can get away with actually just shrinking the same pose. Okay. Okay, let's just see if that... Yeah, that's fine. So that gets him out of the room, which is great. Okay, so now let's get back here. So if I was looking at this, if I was you, the YouTube viewer, I would probably say this would be one of the YouTube videos of mine that I would enjoy the most, because you're really getting into the mechanics of creating animation. Okay, so now we got the same situation. Shoulder, shoulder. And we got to get from here to here. So there's the starting point. All right. So we're going to get from here to here to here. So I'm putting a point right here. Wait, is this correct? I'm sorry, that's bad. That's wrong. The next one would be here. So I'm just going to go like that. Okay. The next one would be here. And the next one would be there. Okay. So now we have this contour. I'm going to use my blue to delineate that. Okay. Contour. Contour, contour, contour. So big C. Okay. Okay, let's get to the center of his neck. I'm just going to draw these lines like so. Okay. Now, I want to go take this. Okay, he's all turned around. And I'm going to ballpark this part. Okay. Is he still turning? Okay, I want him to be turning there, I think. Okay, I need to look at this. Okay, so let's go back to red. There's his shoulder on that shot, and here's his shoulder in this shot, so there's not much change. I think I might be working backwards here. Yes, this is absolutely a mistake, because what the heck is this song? Spirits Having Flown. I don't really know that song. It's not bad. Well, the thing about Barry Gibb, he's just a really, really competent songwriter. Okay, really? That belongs there. Okay, so by the time we get to here, this we're seeing the back of his arm, and therefore this is sort of a C, giving us that contour. So let's let that develop. So we're kind of going from this to straight to curve to more curve. Okay, outside contour. Okay, so that shows us the turn of his body. So actually what would be very helpful now, always as usual working from the known to the unknown, is to follow the contour of his spine the way it's gonna, yeah, see? Which, by the way, reveals this volume. Just gives us a better sense of what the heck's really going on in terms of the volume of his body. Curve here. And see, because we've got that neckline, that's going to help us place his head. Now there is one problem. I think. The problem I think I'm about to run into is a confusion between what's the top of his neck, this gold neck piece, and the bottom. Yes. So we need to delineate that. Now I guess that's not too far from correct, come to think of it. Yeah, okay. Okay, back of his head. Let's go back to blue since that's just kind of sort of what we're doing. When we get to here, nothing ever changes after that. So what we have is we have basically an ear here kind of thing. So this is a fairly gentle transition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow his ear. I'm going to just ballpark this. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, the curve around his skull needs to follow through to the spine, so as always, one guides the other. Like so. See, you got that there. Okay, so back to the red. By the way, again, save early, save often. So the cool thing about it is you can get away with just like I'm doing here with the red marker, just indicating the contours will tell the story pretty well. And as I have said at other times, is it seems to me that if you get the like that contour right there, that little line I just made, if you get the animation of that right, everything will be right. Because everything is really just the composite result of lots of little contours that are getting from here to there. and it helps to keep the volume the same. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's play this. The only thing I would actually object to is, my sense is that these shots right here are actually happening too. He's moving out too rapidly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend this 4 frames. I should say extend it to 4 frames. Okay. And when this is inked, I can pretty well guarantee I'm only going to draw this pose right here one time, and everything else is just going to be an animation of that. Okay. So I'm going to shrink this a bit, put it there. Arguably. Moves down too much. Okay, so now I'm going to just put in these tweens. So we got to get to here. It looks pretty straightforward. So let's select this, Control C. Okay. Well, the nice thing is the top line of his head seems to stay where it is. So fortunately that makes it kind of easy-ish to know where to put the body on the tweens. Basically you shrink it a little bit and then make sure the head still lines up. And okay, that one's not quite right. There we go. Okay. Alright, so now my end point is kind of in the wrong place here, since I extended the shot. And I think what's going to actually happen there is he's going to fade into darkness, because he's really walking back into the dark of the room. But just for completeness, let's do a duplicate here and just do it one more time. And one more time. So I'm really doing this the hard way, because really what you'd want to do is use the animate tool. But you know, whatever. Huh. I'm listening to a song called Boogie Child, which I've never heard before. It's like a Bee Gees greatest hits thing, but what's interesting is you can tell he was sort of channeling Stevie Wonder when he wrote this song. Okay. Great. I think we're good, because the one thing you could do, I don't think I'm going to do it. So you could draw, as he's going out here, you could draw his arm swinging back right there. You know, just the arm swings. But I think, again, for anime, I don't think it's necessary, because A, he's going to be fading into darkness. So what we want to do is actually draw one frame right about there and just animate it with the animate tool. That'll save a lot of time. I'm being a little more meticulous with actually animating with the drawings, as opposed, I'm not looking for a lot of leverage right now in the pencil test stage. I'm really trying to just keep things all about drawing at this exact moment. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating columns for pencil test art for my ninjas. The first frame will simply freeze, and then boom, right here. Okay, so let's deal with Ninja 1. I should clarify, in the context of this show, Ninja 1 and Ninja 2 are specific characters, and neither one of these guys are either one of those. But for the purpose of this shot, I'm calling them Ninja 1 and Ninja 2. Maybe I should have called them 3 and 4. Okay, so now what I want to do is put in a keyframe for Ninja 1. And we see that his head is cut off at the top, and it's essentially like a bullet shape that's cut off at the top. Alright, so now let's go to this shot, and we see again it's a bullet that's cut off at the top. Okay, that's important because right here we're going to put in a tween. So we got to get from here to here. Point, point, point. Okay, so presumably our bullet shape is going to be something like this. Okay, his headband is here. Headband is here. So I think we're going to be pretty much straight across. Right there. Okay. Contour. Contour. Boom. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Wrap. Wrap. Okay. Keep going. Okay, so now the next shot we had for Ninja 2, this is where it's going to get a little more complicated. This is why we're doing the tweens, because we got this choppy, in my opinion, crap animation. Okay, what I'm going to do, because I can, is I'm going to steal this. There's our next shot. Let's put a B so it creates a keyframe, and then let's go S key, Control V, and let's go through and use this capability as much as possible. Okay, so here we have, well, this is actually kind of useful because if we go back here, I think we're going to find okay, this, okay, and okay, that was the wrong pose. Sorry. Okay, that was stupid. Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to just do a rapid fixie poo. I accidentally pasted this in here. I didn't mean to. Okay, fixed. So what I meant to do is Control C, not Control V. Right here, I want to go Control V because, as you can see, it's almost exactly the same pose. Okay, and I'm gonna say this is actually pretty close to the same pose as well, with a slight change on the top contour. Okay. Yeah, because the difference is, the difference is that here we have this contour here, and here, well, actually it's pretty close to the same. So yeah, it really is almost the same pose. Okay. So for our ninjas, that's it. That's all we have. At least for Ninja 1. I say we do sticks and balls. I think that would be well advised. So let's put the B key and let's use our blue pencil. Okay, shoulder, shoulder. Okay, shoulder. Okay, we have to get to there. And then we have to get down to here. So there's a lot of movement there, which is why I want to do tweens. So here we go. I do not want to duplicate these drawings, so I'm going to go B, and I'm just going to put in the tweens this way. Okay, so we're going to literally draw all of these by hand. B key. Save early, save often, folks. Okay. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually create another level, and I'm going to call this the contour level, and I'm going to make it green. This is should be an interesting way to make life a little easier. I may find this, if this works as well as I expect it will, this may be something I use a lot. Okay. So what we want to do is go down to here. Okay, and what we need to do is go into our preferences, and in animation, for the moment, I'm sorry, X sheet, drawing, disable auto creation. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just get this out of the way so I can switch it back later. Okay, the reason I did that is so that now I can go, I've got a key here where his first shoulder position is, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm just going to draw this arc, and I have to get to here, and I've got two keyframes, so we're going to have here, here, and this is here, boom, boom. So now I've just given myself a complete guide. By the way, this should really be a pencil. So I've given myself a guide. I know exactly where those keyframes need to be. Now, okay. This one I'm not totally thrilled with. Let's put that like that. This is actually going to be behind Mr. Big. Okay. Hand, hand, hand. Okay. So now I'm going to come down here, and we want to get to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn auto creation back on, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a key here, and I'm going to put a key on this level on each of my old animatic keyframes. Okay? And then I'm going to turn auto creation off, and now what I'll be able to do is get from here to here. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is, let me check this out. Okay, so now this is going to be green. We got to here, and we have to get to here. So in a way this was a mistake. I probably should extend that one frame lower. Yes. Okay. So that means we've got to get from here to here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is add another color. And this color will be sort of a fuchsia type color. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that. I'm going to leave that there. Because here we have this arm is there. Well, back here, this arm is way up here. So that means we've got an arc that goes like this. And I would have to say it's going to be something like that. Okay. And so here, whoops. Yeah, that's correct actually. My bad. So we're getting from there to there. So we just need to put a little transition in there. And by the way, there's the bottom of his arm. Okay. So now I'm going to delete this, pop this up, and again extend this one frame lower. Okay, so here we have there's our starting point, and here is our finishing point. So 1, 2, one, two, go to the blue color. I'm sorry, green. Okay, I think that's the last one. Okay. So now this is going to be our guide. And what we want to do is go back over to Ninja 1. And now we want to block this stuff in. So we need auto creation to be back on. And hopefully this won't be too confusing. It is kind of confusing, isn't it? So we're going from here. He sits up. And we're going to get to here. So let's just follow the lines. This was wrong. Little boo-boo there. Okay. 2, 3, 4. We got to get to there. So here we'll just put that arm in there. and this is the green arm. There we go. Arm out here. I should be able to just trace this and have it come out about right. Like so. Okay, so now if we turn this guide off, we should get something that approximates our motion that we are trying to achieve. Point, 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 point. Curve, 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 curve. Curve, 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 curve. Okay, flat, less flat. Starting to see the top, seeing the top. Now, there's that pose. Okay, the reality is his head doesn't change position too much. From here to here. Point. Okay, point, point, sorry. Center line, center line, center line, center line. I guess a little bit of curvature there. Okay. Okay. Frankly, the head position doesn't change much. I mean, I should say the head orientation doesn't change much. So, therefore, that's fine. Meant to be hitting the B key, not the S key there. Okay, so one thing I want to keep in mind here is that these are supposed to be cylinders. Okay. How the heck did I fail to get his forearm in there? That's fine. I'm faking it, and it seems to be working. When in doubt, fake it. Fake it till you make it, right? I'm going to stay focused on this guy's left arm for the moment. Actually, that should be there. 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 Okay. Cylinder. Cylinder. All right. Cylinder. Okay, now I'm falling back on my sort of comic booky drawing background, in the sense that I'm leaning on my basic knowledge of anatomy to pull this off right here. Let's see if he's up there. Yeah, we need to get this arm up there, don't we? Okay. So boom, boom, boom. Yeah. You got to have the meat of the deltoid there happening. So what you see is a lot of these contours pretty much boil down to the transition from a C like this. Here you got a let's say a concave, straightening out to convex. And a lot of times that's really what you're animating, is you're animating the transition from concave to convex. Okay. That's fine. We can't see behind Mr. Big. We need to get the meat of the deltoid here again. Alright, and I'm going to just go like that, because remember, it's easy to get tricked by these lines, because remember, these are center lines. These are not contours. They're not the outside contour of his arm. It's the bone going through his arm, essentially. Oh, save early, save often, right? Okay. He's getting to there. So let's get the deltoid. Remember, from the known to the unknown, what is known is the deltoid, because it moves the least. Okay, so now that tells us contour, because the deltoid is what gives us a sense of what the volume is. Yeah. Working backwards now. Okay. We got this. Okay, I see what's going on. This is actually really a confusing spot right here, because this must be the deltoid. This must be the other deltoid. what was confusing me is I was thinking that was his hand. His hand winds up way down here. Well, it's specifically there. So we got to get from here to here. But the hands are moving together as a unit, so that's helpful. So let's grab, I'm just going to create a shape here that represents the unified hands. See? Okay. So now that tells us where his arms would be. Okay, elbow. Elbow has to have some volume to it. So again, these are the arms working together as a unit. And now we've got this blade. Gosh, I'm going to add another color in here just to for the blade. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Basically the blade would be like that. Okay, so now as long as we're here and thinking about it, in a sense, I will say we could get away with murder on this, on his face, just because it's all going to go by really fast. But yet we don't want to be slop hogs either here, do we? So now what I'm doing is I'm just going to try to zoom in on his face and just engender some sort of consistency at least. Basically his eye is this, line C. Line C, line C, line C, line C. So let's just knock that out. I guess we need to address his ear situation. It's a little bit low. I think that's the last drawing, yep. So we got to have a little indication here. Little indication here. Definitely need it there. Okay. Okay, so that's working. So now what we need to do is look at Ninja 2. Well, this is why in anime you appreciate the ability to leave a character standing still and talking because if stuff needs to move, it can become a lot of work in a hurry, and it's just what you got to do. So now Ninja number 2 has quite a bit easier time of it. In fact, one could argue that maybe I don't need to add tweens for him. Let me run this and see what it feels like. Okay. To get from here to here, that first change of position could certainly be done with just the S key, the select tool, or the animate tool. So let's go ahead and just do this the fun way. Let's put in a frame there, and I'll go ahead and put in a frame here. So up here, let's just, he's a regular oval with this. Okay, so basically that's our guy. Okay, so here our guy has gone from here to here. So let's just basically cheat a quick transition. My bad. I want to get rid of that tween. I want it to be there. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So now we definitely need to have keys everywhere that there were keys before. Okay, so that takes care of that. And that would suggest 1, 2, 3, 4 keys. Let's do it. Let's just animate every piece of him as rapidly as we can. All right. Here to there. So almost no change. Okay. 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 1, 2, 3. We're just moving fast here. Okay, that's it. So now headband, 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 etc., etc. I won't keep saying it. Driving you nuts. Boom, boom. Remember, we can always, if it's got too much wiggly motion because he's really not moving that much from frame to frame, then we can always just cut some tweens out. No big deal. Okay. So we'll just go with it. What we're trying to do here is indicate based on the neckline where the extents or the volume of the neck would be. Okay. Top line. Again, this isn't really changing very much. So let's just try to keep it as smooth as we can, because remember the key thing that's going to change here is going to be his hands. Okay, outside edge, that changes. It's a good example of what I was talking about. It's kind of a straight line here. And to get to here, so if I think of this as being a box, the only place we really see the movement would be right here. Okay. That's fine. We'll get that. We'll just allow that to have a little bit of motion. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say here we have a known. And the known is his hand. And here, obviously we don't see his hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring it up like so. Okay, I'm going to go back to the red, and we basically gotta have, since this is essentially a hard stick, we don't want to let it look like it's growing and stuff. Here, okay, so this is actually kind of fun and interesting. Okay, now he's got to get from here to here. Okay, 2, 3. Alright, that's fine. So we'll go box. I think this one's in the wrong place. We want to give this a little bit of movement. Oh, come on. B key. Better save early, save often, right? Okay, so what's really kind of interesting about this is that this has to maintain this distance because the line is being held taut. So actually, let's take this and slide it up there just a little bit. So this would have to be about there, hand about there. Yeah. And here, it would hang loose. Okay. Arm, 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 arm. And unfortunately, he's mostly hidden behind Mr. Big, although not completely, because you can see Mr. Big actually stops there on that frame. So we do need to delineate some of this guy's anatomy. I think that right there should be the, this is a space, you know, behind his arm. Yeah. So we're actually animating the negative space, if you will. Okay, so we got a little bit of weirdness here with the mask being, it's like the head is oriented that way, but yet the eyes would indicate it's oriented that way, so I am aware of that. Okay, what about this guy's ears? Let's stay zoomed in here, because we are almost done actually. As long as we're here, let's now work our way back. It's really an interesting exercise here doing this to what I'm trying to do is keep my vision broad where I can see as much of the drawing as possible, because then the imbalances sort of become more obvious. There's stuff that is clearly whacked like that I can, you know, I assure you I can see that, but because I'm moving quickly, and some of these things will certainly be corrected at the inking stage. So you choose your battles, you might say. Okay, so now if we take our ink and paint and literally turn it off, let's see what we get. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to win any awards. Not going to get an Oob iWorks award for this, but all in all, not bad. Since I've been working for almost an hour and a half, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and I will promise that the next video will be the ink and paint for this scene. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to this frame, because we're going to want to repeat, we're going to want to duplicate it a number of times in order to save having to completely redraw and repaint everything. But I would say on balance, not a bad result. Let's look at it one more time and then we'll stop. Yeah, actually what's jumping out at me is if I was going to change something, I would actually have him leave the room. I would have this walking out motion happen, and I probably will do this, and take everything about ninjas 1 and 2 and shift them later in time, so that Mr. Big, essentially, ignore the ninjas for a minute and you'll see what I mean. What I would do is take this and get him to about there, and then start the ninjas action. So that's definitely something to think about. So with that, I'm going to stop because this has been quite a intense, focused effort creating this pencil test. And ink and paint comes next.